It's 6:39. I'm calling to order the special meeting of the Bandera Economic Development Corporation. It's Thursday, September 10th, 2020. All board members are present. The city secretary is present. Are you staying, Jill?
I'm gonna make sure everything's going good.
Okay. And the city marshal is present.
And the EDC.
Item 2, a discussion of possible action on the election of an EDC secretary treasurer. We sort of jumped the gun at the last meeting. It was not actually on the agenda. So at this time, I would like to make a nomination. I'd like to nominate Deanna McKay for secretary treasurer.
Second.
Laura seconds. Discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Item 3, discussion of possible action regarding the development of an app for the city of Bandera. This one's sort of in your court, ma'am.
Yes, I talked to Larry today. He did not have a proposal up. He wanted to get more information on what it is we're looking for. I'm not sure if anyone knows or if we discussed in depth about what we were trying to do. It's kind of a wayfaring app for when visitors come to Bandera, they kind of know where to go. It's not an app for the city of Bandera. I think some residents were kind of confused about that. But I spoke with him and he wanted more information about what we all wanted to see. He did tell me it'd be probably around $5,000, but he wanted to get with maybe a couple other members to see what we wanted to have on there, because it's, you know, to tell him an app and then not really. Yeah.
Go ahead, Rebecca.
So that's what I was curious about as well, and I didn't know if the previous board had discussed further the content, like what is the vision for it? I understand the wayfaring side, so you have a lot of, you know, local amenities and different just things you could have available in one location for information. But as far as managing it after that app is developed, where do we sit with that, or what are the ideas there? Because that's a lot of content to manage.
It is, and I believe that that was what Larry wanted to discuss. I think it would be something that he would do. I'm not for sure on that, because again, we didn't go in depth as far as what we really wanted to do with it.
May I suggest that in October we have a workshop?
Perfect.
And we invite Larry to come visit with us. I believe Patricia Moore had some questions about
Yes.
this, so why don't we schedule this for a workshop in October and we'll come up with a date later.
And that was what I was gonna suggest too, maybe get the CVB involved and the chamber
In the chamber.
and even talk to some, you know, business owners that may have seen, you know, do a little research and then come to the table and do a workshop with Larry, and he can tell us what we can and can't do.
Let's do that. Okay, item 4, discussion of possible action for the purchase of a laptop for the exclusive use of the Bandera EDC. You had some very good points. I'm not familiar with the history at all, but Deanna had some good points about this. You want to share it with the rest of the board?
I do. So a couple of things. The EDC already has a designated laptop. Unfortunately, it just didn't have any of the Microsoft Word, Adobe, or anything like that, and that was something that we would need to purchase every year, which we did the very first year, I think in 2016. And then it was more of a yearly thing. So there is a laptop already. It would just need to have software put on it, and again, that's a license that you would do every year. Then the only business that I would see specifically conducted on a laptop would be the meeting minutes, meaning that you would have the EDC laptop doing the minutes and whatnot, of course, if it had the Microsoft Word, Adobe, and whatnot. So these minutes are also stored here at City Hall in hard copy, and they're also on the website. So they're easily accessible to everyone, so I'm not sure if the laptop was more of a security thing, or, go ahead.
No, I don't
I thought you had a, so that was that with the minutes, and for those that, anyone that has access to the EDC email or the QuickBooks can actually access that anywhere from any of their devices, and which has been done. Can be on your phone, a tablet, desktop, laptop, or whatnot. So it's not necessarily meaning that the EDC, QuickBooks, and or email would be central just to that laptop. I personally think that, or would suggest an external hard drive that's kept here at the city hall at all times. And anyone that does the minutes or things like that can put it on a jump drive and then put it on the hard drive. For many different reasons, in the event that someone has the laptop and someone needs it because God forbid something, someone's on vacation or in the hospital or something, you need files, you go to the hard drive and you get it. And it's very easy to transfer data and things like that, and when you scan anything in, you can actually scan it straight to the EDC email, which is again accessed on anyone's device. Anything that's coming in for the EDC, whether it's emails, receipts, applications, things like that, all goes out to the board anyhow. So to me, a central location would be the hard drive, and always being here. When it changes hands, it's kind of seamless. We always know where it's at. If some transition happens and we say we need these files, where they're already here. In October, on the October 24th, 2019 meeting, the EDC did approve the purchase of a hard drive, up to $250, because that was sort of, I guess, their thought also.
So in reality, we don't need a laptop.
I don't feel, I mean, it's up to you guys, to me, I think a hard drive would be more conducive to transition, others kind of working on things, if you need to go and do something or need a file instead of going, who's got the laptop? That's just my opinion.
Rebecca?
So we can already go out and buy this external hard drive because it's been previously
It has.
approved
It was
for this
approved.
fiscal year.
Yes,
So that
and I
just
have
needs
those minutes
to be
on
done.
that.
And then as far as purchasing software, can all of those minutes and everything be done on Google Drive?
It can, and because I've even used Dropbox. I'm old school. I like hard copies and hard drive. We've all seen what happens when internet goes down.
Well, right, but I'm just talking about
But yes,
creating
it can.
documents.
It can, and
Yeah.
it's very easy to do that. And again, just zip it over to the hard drive. But that's something that can be done on any device.
Right.
So in the event that someone can't do it, or someone else is wanting to transition to do it.
I just wondered about that annual software fee, if that were something that was really necessary for what we're doing.
So for the laptop, you mean? So the first year it was $300 and something. It should be in the files. We didn't do it the next year or the year after because I just started doing it on my laptop with the Microsoft Word and whatnot. It was just an expense I didn't feel that we really needed if
Yeah.
it was already accessible.
Yeah.
So that would be something too, and I mean, it's an outdated laptop and it was bare bones, but.
Yeah, but all you need is a internet server,
Mhm.
right?
Y'all all know that I am the least technological advanced dinosaur in the building. To me, as here as a board member of the EDC, I have a choice of preparing a document on my laptop or on the city's laptop, my desktop in my office. To remove it, I just feel like the confidentiality is not there when we're all creating documents in our own little private devices, when I think we need to have it in a central location. But if y'all could just teach me how to do what we need to do with whatever y'all think we need to have, I'll be glad to do it. But I'm just old-fashioned that way. I just wanted it all right there. So up to you. Would you like to go for the external hard drive and use whatever we're going to use to do whatever we're going to do? So you'll be working out of your computer now as Secretary Treasurer.
Yes. And, go ahead.
And I just have a question, just to clarify for myself. So I understand that after this meeting that we won't have an admin. Is that role go to you, Deanna? Or how is that gonna work? Who is going to
Okay, that is going to be taken up at our next meeting.
Okay,
We'll need to advertise, we'll need to do other things, but
Okay.
there's no rush right now because we're at the end of our year, there's not a lot to do. And I asked Deanna prior to this meeting if she could assume these duties until such time as the board can decide what they want to do about an admin. Yes, ma'am.
What happened to the city council recommendation to enter into?
That's never gone anywhere, so that's part
Why
of,
was
that's
that
part of
on
the
our
discussion.
agenda?
Because the council hasn't approved it and we haven't taken a look at it. We glanced through it, Rebecca. That's why I'm saying we need to wait to determine whether we get an admin.
I'm sorry, council approved it pending ratification by the EDC board.
That was the bylaws, that was not the administrative
Okay.
agreement. Because there were several things in there, even you and I agreed we should sit down and look at it, so.
I don't remember it that way, but that's okay. No biggie.
But this can all be straightened out. Next week, we'll get it all figured out and see what. In case you're wondering what Rebecca's speaking of, the attorney drew, our attorney, the city's attorney drew up a administration agreement where the EDC would pay city employees for different posting of agendas and typing of minutes and that sort of thing. But it hasn't gone past city council yet. Quite frankly, I don't like the way it's written because it's the wording, the language, it's not a if or, it's a shall and or may, and I don't like, I want a may instead of a shall. So, anyway, that's why I brought it to you, so. But anyway, this will only be a very short term because there's, like I said, we're just about wrapping this year up, so. What do you want to do? Buy a hard drive?
Yeah, that's already been decided, so.
Well, that's already been approved, so there's no reason to have a motion on it.
That's what I think.
So we will just take number 4 as a no action item. Okay, item 5, discussion and possible action on outstanding EDC stimulus grant applications. We touched on these briefly at our last meeting. However, they weren't on the agenda as an action item. Item A is the stimulus grant to Gone Quilting for $2,500. Directors?
I don't have any of that documentation, so can you guys elaborate on whether or not all the
It was
checks
in our
and-
last packet, I just got that out of my last packet.
right,
Really?
yeah.
I'm sorry.
It was on the agenda as an update. They have provided all of the necessary documentation.
All the
Yes.
And they're
boxes are
ready
checked.
to-
Yes.
They're ready just to cut checks now.
Oh, did you have it? You gave it to her?
No, I didn't
Oh.
have it, but
I got
okay.
Suzanne had it.
Thank you. And is it the full amount? Did did the supporting documentation bring them to the full amount?
for
Yeah.
Gone Quilting, I believe so.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to grant Gone Quilton's request for $2,500 to be paid out of the stimulus grant program. Deanna seconds, discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Item B. I'm gonna make a motion to award 3 Bucky's motorcycle and ATV repair,
Thank you.
the sum of $1,000.
Second?
Rebecca seconds. Discussion? This too will come out of the stimulus grant funds. All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. Thank you. Okay, item 6, discussion of possible action regarding Frontier Times promotional funding payment. This is more an FYI thing than anything else. Since they were funded for the rodeo for Labor Day and it just didn't happen to work out that way. Oh, I'm sorry, was it Labor Day? Yeah. So they returned their check and we deposited it back in the bank.
Oh, okay.
Okay, item 7. Discussion and possible action regarding payment to the city of Bandera for playground equipment / city park upgrades. These two items, the two $10,000 items, were approved for the 18-19 budget, although they were approved by council on September the 4th, 14th?
We approved that on
EDC.
September the 1st, 2019.
September the 4th.
Yes.
So being approved in the September the 4th of 2019, they would be in the 18-19 budget because that's still the budget year. And that was the point of that, was to get this into the 18-19 budget year before the close of the budget year. So that's where those funds came from.
19, wait, okay,
Ma'am?
yes, the 18-19 fiscal, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying.
So, that being said, this will be a prior year expense, but we can still go ahead and show it as an expense. I believe if we pull up the 18-19 budget, we'll find the two line items for the amended that we can credit these back to. So far, what did we look at first? Playground equipment? We have receipts submitted by the city of Bandera that totals $6,511.63.
Move to approve funding.
Thank you.
Second.
Second discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. For the baseball field, we had another one submitted today for the backstop.
Bleachers.
Bleacher,
So the total is
53-17-12.
which one?
53-17-12.
Is that the backstop and the bleachers?
Yeah.
Together, right?
Move to approve.
I'll second.
15, 17, 12. I'm sorry,
It's okay.
53, 17, and 12 cents.
Yes,
Thank you. Second?
Deanna second.
I
Did you second?
Sorry.
Thank you, Leanne. Discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. So we get those checks cut before the end of the year, get that cleared up. Okay, item 9, board comments. Move on to item 10, establish the next EDC meeting. Do y'all want to meet on the 24th of September, which is our regular meeting day, and we can probably finalize the agenda that day and present it to council?
I won't be in town.
Ma'am?
I won't be in town. I'm out on vacation that week,
Okay,
so just FYI.
well,
I can do it.
when are you leaving?
On the 16th, and I will be back on the Monday, the 28th.
Okay, if all of us can be at the meeting on the 22nd, 4 of us will be a quorum and we can approve the budget.
The 24th.
The 24th.
September 24th at 6:30. Well, can you be here at 6:30 on the 24th?
Yes.
It's Thursday.
Yep, I can.
All right. Is that good with everybody?
I'm good.
Okay, let's go into item 11, which is the workshop. This is the budget workshop. Have y'all had a chance to look at the draft proposed budget that I gave everybody last time? Have you seen it yet, Jerry?
I don't think I've seen it.
There was an email, right? Was it?
Yes.
Megan, could you make a copy of this for Jerry, please?
I'm not Megan, but I'll do it.
Can you make one for me as well? I don't have mine
Yes.
with me. Thank you.
Well, right off the bat, we'll be able to strike 2 of those items, the city park upgrades, not the upgrades, but the softball field and the playground equipment, because those will be paid this week or this month.
So that'll go off, that'll be off the
Yes,
budget.
ma'am, so that'll drop that back down. I think there's some clarification that Megan has on, and I don't have it in front of me, but the Frontier Times Museum, our payment to them,
The Natural History Museum,
ma'am?
the Natural History Museum, right?
Yes. Sorry.
Yes, ma'am, not the Frontier Times, I'm sorry, they turned your check up. They're both on my mind. Thanks, Jill.
Thanks.
I do. I think it's updated. Okay.
Okay, so we can do away with that. Okay, down to 133.
May I just ask,
Ma'am?
is there any reason to not leave some money budgeted for parks?
We have 25,000 under city projects, Parks and Recreation.
I know, but weren't you just talking about removing that?
Because that is the prior year expense that we had, the 10,000 that EDC agreed for the softball field and the playground equipment.
Yes, I do know that.
Okay. Instead of putting it in miscellaneous projects, why we wouldn't put it down here in City Park, 49,000. Do you want to increase that from 25,000 to a larger number?
Not necessarily. I thought you were saying remove this, and I just wondered why, if we have 25,000 budgeted for
No,
something
these two that have no numbers on them,
Oh, those,
those are the two that we
excuse
just took care of.
me. Okay. So what was it about the Bandera Natural History Museum line item? That does need to be in our 2021 budget?
Apparently, from what, Megan, would you explain it, please?
Oh, do we have a problem with their performance agreement?
So their last payment, or their first payment of their the 3-year commitment was paid September 8th, 2019.
Okay,
From what I understood in researching it, Deanna may have more because she was the admin at that time, but they have to meet certain criteria and then submit the documentation to the board and request their payment for 2020 and then again in 2021.
The first payment was contingent upon when they broke ground. And I think the second one was when the project's completed, they hire a new full-time employee. So I don't know if he has submitted anything else.
Do you want me to reach out to the Bandera Natural History Museum and see the status? They may not be aware
This
that.
is what we approved.
Is that the
I
performance
haven't
agreement?
seen the performance agreement. It should be in the file. That was just the minutes that we had approved.
with these performance agreements,
Ma'am,
if the agreement is not met, or if the condition is not met, then that payment is void?
Mhm. Unless you amend it. Now, his was amended in, I might have that one. Later, his was amended because I think that says a full-time employee, and what they decided to do is to let it be part-time equivalent. Because it would be easier for them to do part-time versus one full-time. So I think 3 or 4, and I think that should be in the performance agreement too, because the performance agreement was amended. Let me see if I can find that.
well, this would be the third year, would it not?
Second.
The second, the next year will be.
This is the second year?
Yes, the second.
Were there any, I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Were there any other conditions besides that, Deanna?
I don't believe so. I'll have to look on, I haven't, the performance agreement would be probably more detailed in the minutes, because again, we revised, instead of requiring the full
Do we
time.
have a performance agreement
Okay,
signed by
but-
Bandera now?
May I-
Yes, ma'am.
Just because this agenda item is budget workshop, we really, the only relevant piece here is, are we leaving this line item in for next fiscal year, which I think we would. And that's gonna require some other attention outside of the scope of this,
I
right?
think you're right.
Budget
True.
workshop.
Okay, and Bandera Meat Market stays. We will be, so all of this stays, da.
I have a quick question on the first page, Suzanne. On the office supplies, you have budgeted 1,000, and I think that the QuickBooks is now at what, 75? I know when I left it was 70, 75.
That's what I saw in the.
Okay, so that's gonna be about 900 a year, so just in case, I don't know, that would leave 100. I know
Yeah,
we can go back for budget amendment, and I don't know what we're looking to
No.
do, but
no, that's a good
I'm
point.
thinking if we're doing, just a thought.
You recommend what number?
I don't know, I mean, I can't,
1,500.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
yeah,
Maybe.
just, I
Give
mean,
it
I
a
don't
little
see them
cushion.
going up again, but they might, but regardless, if something comes up.
Anything
and-
else that may be needed, there's
Right.
a little cushion there, there
Right.
should be.
Just a thought.
Good thought. Can we talk a little bit about the debt service principal? There was some back and forth email with the city attorney regarding how the avenues are to make this happen. So this is not just a matter of approving it on the budget, am I correct?
But there'll be the standard over $10,000 thing. It has to go to a public hearing and then 2 readings of a resolution at city council. But we have to budget for it in order for it to happen.
That's not the conversation I was thinking of. Suzanne, when you had sent an email asking about this commitment for multiple years, he responded, one option was to put it on the general election, and another was to hold a series of public hearings to commit those funds. So that's what I'm asking about.
Well, what I was going by, which I haven't gotten back to him with yet, the proposition on the ballot specifically was authorizing the use of the EDC funds, the 0.5% funds, for the funding of water, wastewater, streets, and the maintenance and operation thereof. So that was specifically on the ballot. So that's something I need to clarify with him, because he said
Okay.
unless the ballot specified, and I believe that's the proposition specified, I believe it's specified.
Okay.
So we'll send that back to him and find out, but it won't hurt us to budget for it.
Okay, that's
And
what I was
then we'll
getting
figure out
at.
what we're gonna do about it later.
For the purpose of the budget, we can leave it there. Oh, because there's also that $100,000 city infrastructure. So this leaves 0 budgeted dollars for any incentive programs, is that correct?
That's correct. The way this is written, on the second page, you have 5,000, which would be the private enterprise grants or loans, and there's $0 budgeted for that. And I think the discussion we had last time was that should some sort of disaster befall a business here in town, like say the roof fell in and their insurance didn't cover it, they could have come to EDC, apply. If EDC chose to approve the funding, we could take it out of our fund balance, which we will have a significant fund balance, and move it over to that particular line item.
Where's the fund balance you're talking about when we've got a,
You don't see the fund balance on the budget. The fund balance is the money left in the bank plus our 2 CDs. We have, just like we have in the city account,
yeah,
our reserves. Looking
is
at,
that what, did Megan send that?
looking at our current budget versus actual, we should have, I would guess, because we do not have our July, August, or September revenues from the city, because the city hasn't collected them yet. I would say we would have a couple of $100,000 left in the bank after we transferred over. What do we have to transfer over? With those 2 changes, $139,850 to make the budget balance, the budget. And we can always go to council for amendments for worthy projects. It's just strictly up to you guys.
I just don't know about repealing that whole program all at once.
So which one?
The incentive program.
Well, how much you want to put in there?
I don't know. I think that's worth some
50,000?
consideration.
We're not doing away with the incentive programs. We
But we're not
decided,
budgeting for it.
if you'd like to budget for it, we certainly can. That's why this is everybody to look at.
I mean, I know that the incentive programs are still there, but the budget is the tool to be able to fund those programs.
I mean, we can always put money aside for that, correct? And then the programs themselves, perhaps look at the programs, the stipulations, and make any modifications to those programs as,
If we lump it all together as, let's say, projects, private enterprise grants or loans, and we put 50,000 in there, we don't have to use it. But it's available with our different incentive programs, which we've sort of put on hold for right now until we got through this next year with COVID, not this next year, but this next few months with COVID and everything. So pick a number you want in there, I'll be glad to stick it in there.
I don't know. So I'm just thinking that, and I don't know if you guys have heard other meetings. I'm hoping that I will not be in this chair for very long and that some other local people with relevant insight and abilities come in to fill this seat. But I don't know how I feel about completely banning, that program by not funding it. And I would hope to give the future EDC some liberty in deciding, through working with council, how to roll out that program, and what it's gonna look like and be like for everybody.
In previous budgets, this was called unrestricted. Remember that being in the prior budget. So let's say we put a number of 50,000 in there, and should the occasion arise, something we think is worthy of supporting, then we can do that.
Okay, so I'm seeing that we have this 20 from the miscellaneous projects that we could allocate there, correct? On the first page, the two City of Bandera Park, those two $10,000 line items that you said could come out, that 20,000.
Of it right there, yes.
I don't know where you would pull the other 30 from.
Well, remember, this is not budgeting for every penny that the EDC has. This is leaving some reserve funds. So since we've already eliminated 20,000 right there, another 30,000 would not make a huge difference in the bottom
fund
line.
balance.
So if y'all would like to put 50,000 over there for now, If we use it, fine. If we don't, okay.
What is the City of Bandera Master Plan Phase 1?
Shouldn't that be phase 2?
Well, yes. It's supposed to be phase
Going
2.
towards phase 2.
We have completed phase 1 of the master plan. And we have waiting for reports back from Simple Cities. Phase 2 is when we start actually getting together the community for their input and where the city master plan for the next 50 years.
You may have gotten an email today from the city secretary because we did get that DNA study, the report from Simple City. Did you send that out to EDC
did.
members? Great. So
I
that
emailed it.
that is the report, that is the phase 1, and phase 2 will continue from there. So that will give you a lot of information about what the master plan project is.
Okay.
And
Jill, you send that to me too?
Mhm.
Okay, I'll have to check. I haven't seen it pop up, but I'll look.
It was this afternoon.
Okay.
Jerry Stevens, something, right?
Yep.
It's
And
a
the
link. It's just a link. It's not an attachment. It was too big to attach. So I sent the link, you click the link and it takes you right to it in Dropbox.
Okay. I'll look.
And I guess that's part of it too, is that we need some time to, I mean, I understand we've got to approve this budget and we've got to get it in the books, but it's hard to kind of, and, you know, take this in when you're getting stuff the day of, the night before, and it's nobody's fault. I mean, it's just, it's hard to kind of take all this in and understand what we're trying to do. And
we'll have all this to you much earlier in the future. These back-to-back meetings have been hard
Yeah.
to keep up with. Yes, Rebecca?
And I just want to add too, that a lot of this has to do with council input from previous meetings and workshops. Kind of, what I'm gathering was either consensus or decided, kind of guidance for EDC, is what I'm gathering. Because like this infrastructure, this is this 100,000 for infrastructure, the 40,000 for the Texas Water Development Board, those are new pieces to the EDC budget that, that some council members have expressed they really wanted to see happening here. So whereas before there was a lot more for funding the incentive programs, it's kind of reverse. And hopefully that will satisfy some of those desires.
We have some really, really big things coming up with the city. And I think the city will be looking to EDC for help with funding some of those things, particularly those that benefit the entire city. The street project, the Texas Water Development Board loan. We have potentially an opportunity to get another Texas Water Development Board loan for the flood infrastructure program.
Which is highly
What?
related to the park, which is a,
Yeah, it's
right off the bat, an easy way,
The
I
back
mean,
is, yeah, the park is an EDC project right off the bat.
for
So,
sure.
but we're looking at different ways of funding, but this is just a guideline. This isn't set in stone. Now, this 47,000, those are obligations that we already have. Those are ongoing obligations, committed to before we all became members, but those things are committed. 4,800 is, I think, would be part of the infrastructure. 25,000 for the park, 40,000 for Texas Water Board. We put 50,000 in there for private enterprise grants or loans. And I will figure out and get to you this week, next week, I'm sorry, with a little help, an approximate fund balance, so you'll know where we are by, with these numbers. Again, these aren't set in stone, so I'll get you a better idea of where we actually are.
Okay, and we'll see those changes and also the office supplies as Deanna suggested. Cool. I got nothing else. Do you, Deanna?
What'd you come up with, girl?
Oh, for a total? How did you know? So with adding the 30,000, I know we took out that 20, but we put that in. Oh, actually, we put what, 50,000, so 30, so adding the 30,000 extra for the.
Be 481, right?
And 500 for the office.
And 600 for the,
Oh,
yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Over office
Oh,
supplies?
no, it was 500, yeah.
It was
500. So that would be 482, 450. Let me double check that again, so 451,950, and we added the 30,000, and then the 500, correct?
Mhm.
482, 450.
482.
See, you confused me because I see this right here says total fund balance and revenue.
That is the, okay, that is the prior year fund balance transfer in.
Okay, that's not the
We're
reserve.
reading that in from the year before, yeah. Or the budget, the bank balance.
Okay,
You cannot call that revenue because it's not revenue.
right.
Right.
So this would go up by $30,500. Anything else in particular? Our meeting on the 24th should be fairly quick. Work on this with Deanna, try to get some more.
We don't have any education or training budgeted for the board members.
We truly don't.
And I don't know what
And there's some really good EDC stuff
there
out there right now.
really is.
Let's say another 2,000?
I don't know what previous years were. I'd have to,
There wasn't anything that I know of. Where else to-
No, we had a travel research, I believe. somewhere.
Previous year, there was no training line item.
I think we should budget something for training under administrative expenses.
Well, since everything is being done virtually right now, there's not travel, there's not hotels, and these things are running 100, 165, some of the ones that I've seen
Mhm.
recently. Would you think 2,000 would be enough?
I think it's a good place to start.
Any ideas,
So you said 2,000?
ma'am?
2,000?
I'm sorry, and Deanne, did you say you recall any in the past, what we've
Yes,
done?
we had a travel research education line item. I thought it was in last year's budget also, but
It was when the COVID was amended, they
Oh.
pulled from there, there was 4,000.
Oh, okay. How much was it?
4,000?
4,000? Did y'all hear that? When we were creating the $100,000 for the
COVID.
COVID,
Mm-hmm,
that was wiped out. And it
Okay.
was 4,000 of the original budget. Y'all wanna make it 4?
I think so. I would rather do that.
No problem.
Thank you for looking that up. Before there's a motion to adjourn, may I please request we go back to agenda item 9 for a moment? Board comments.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. I don't know if any of you received, I just got an email yesterday and I was kind of surprised because it was like a follow-up email that I don't remember seeing in the first place. But this is a program that has a registration deadline tomorrow. So I'm gonna forward this out to all of you. I think it would be, it's an economic development learning program.
The one with Borregas?
with UTSA.
I didn't see that.
So, for a few years, I always went to the Texas Rural Challenge, which was put on by the UT Economic Development Department, and I don't know if it's morphed into this because of COVID. But I'm just gonna send that out to make sure. I mean, I'm hoping that we can have some representation from the city of Bandera, and this is something that I'm willing to do, but it's asking to have at least 2 people.
And when is it?
RSVP by the 11th. It starts on September 15th. I'll just email this to everyone so you can review the agenda on your own time and see if it was something that would work in your schedule.
Okay.
Forward it to me too, Rebecca, so if anybody needs me to register them, I can, and I'll have the information.
Let me see if I can.
Since I don't have everyone's emails, Joe, can I just send it to you?
Sure.
And you'll send it to everybody. Thank you.
Was it yesterday I got that?
Yeah, and it said it was I got this on September 9th.
I can't find it right now. I'm gonna take your time with
Yeah.
your phone.
Just forward it to me and I'll.
I just did. Thank you.
Okay. So, yes ma'am.
While we're still on 9 board comments, I have an open records request I need some assistance on, like immediately. So would that be Deanna to assist me with that now? To pull some documents for like contracts and things like that?
Board?
Well, yeah, I mean, I would think so, but I don't know how
I'm
you
okay
feel
with
about that.
I'm good.
Okay,
That's
I'll
fine.
go with Deanna then. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, where was I? Okay. Megan wants to do the transition tomorrow, perhaps, if you two could work together on how you're gonna figure out who gets the passwords and what you're gonna do, and, or another, whatever day is convenient with y'all, so we can get this over. Megan, please give us an invoice for our meeting on the 24th, and we'll get you taken care of. Thank you. Anything further, Rebecca, you still hunting?
No, I'm good. I sent it to Jill. I'm just reviewing.
Playing crosswords or something, I don't know what you. Okay. We've gone back to the board comments. Any further comments? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
You do.
Rebecca
Second,
makes a
so
motion to adjourn. Deanna second. Any discussion? All in favor? All in favor, none opposed. 7:27, adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
I forwarded it to everybody.
Oh, good. There's